What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the only sports podcast. That's right, the only sports podcast. I'm Will. That's usually Casino over there. We just lost about 2 minutes of me talking because my microphone cord fell out. So we're about as well run of an organization this season as the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, we will talk about it. Obviously, I am a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I just watched them get demolished on Thursday Night Football. So we will talk about that. We will also talk about, I mean, there's nothing really to talk about with the Phillies, right? They lost to the Dodgers. The Dodgers, the pick preseason Casino and I both said it on the show. They are going to win the World Series. There's again, especially if they have to face that Cubs team that is now tied 2-2 with the Brewers. So yeah, or even if it was the Brewers, I just think it's Dodgers by a long shot, and I don't think anybody in the East can compete with them either. So, or I'm sorry, in the AL. But yeah, I just, what a rough day. And then also like obviously as a Philadelphia sports fans, people are trying to tie in like well, all three teams lost. It's like, yeah, it's a little different from Eagles losing a Thursday night game to this awful Giants team and the Phillies getting knocked out of the playoffs when they were one of the favorites in it. Those are two kind of different losses than compared to where the Flyers lose like on opening night or their second game or whatever. A little bit of a different little bit of different stakes there. I'm sure people would have tied it in if it was also like a Sixers preseason game. They would have been like all four teams lost. Like, yeah, two of those don't matter. Two of the three do. Obviously, the Phillies losing to the Dodgers was predictable, but still depressing to lose two games like at home like that, win one in Dodger Stadium, and then lose in the 11th inning on basically a wild pitch at home. That was rough. What was even more rough, and well, actually not more rough, because again, difference between week 6 and the playoffs, but what was rough last night was the Eagles Giants game. Let's talk about it. Again, the okay, what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. So, what we are going to do is we're going to talk about this Eagles team in a new segment called Half Full, Half Empty, which will be what are we kind of focusing on that is a good thing? What are we focusing on that is a bad thing? What is actually a problem? What is prisoner of the moment? That kind of stuff. Because the vitriol of, I guess, like, just like, again, the Eagles haters, which is fine, right? I'm a fan of one team. I hate 32 other ones. I, for this show, am rooting for like three other teams, and then all the other ones, it's like, who cares? Like, again, I'm a fan of my team. I'm not a fan of I'm a fan of football. I'm not a fan of the NFL. We bitch about the NFL every week on this podcast, right? So it's like I don't care about the Giants. I don't care about any of these other teams. I'm an Eagles fan. So we talk about the show and I try to be objective. And again, the thing Eagles fans or the thing people who are not Eagles fans do not realize is the Eagles are the hardest fan base on their team, win or lose. When they win, it's like, oh, well, everything you're saying, we've already been saying during the game. So, this whole thing where it's like now we have seen the Eagles lose twice for the first time in, I think, 2 seasons, like lose, especially back to back for the first time in 2 seasons. Now it's like, all these takes that were saved in drafts and saved in the memory folder have just been sitting there for 2 years, and it's like one of those things where, it either ages like wine or milk, right? So you're just like sitting there and you're just like, man, when I open this, I hope it ages. And most of these takes have aged like milk. Some of them are great wine takes, which we will get into in half empty, half full. But what we won't do is get into those now because again, that's a separate segment. But let's talk about the game last night. Giants 34-17. in a rough one. Again, if you're an Eagles fan, everybody else enjoyed it because Jackson Dart is fun. Scatterboo is fun. Both are annoying, but like kind of lovable annoying in the way that Baker Mayfield is lovable annoying. Where if these guys were on your team, you would be like, oh yeah, I'd run through a wall for those guys, I'd die for those guys. And then if you're just watching them play other teams, you're like, oh, that's fun. And then when you watch them play your team, you're like, God, these people are annoying. Just annoying. Like that stuff is again is grating if you're losing or if you're playing against them. Every other time it's great, right? So shout out to Jackson Dart and Scatterboo. And I will say silver lining, if there even can be one from last night's just massacre. As an Eagles fan, there's no silver linings because what I wanted to happen today did not happen, and we'll get into that. But the silver lining for me personally, as an Eagles fan after last night, was somebody stupidly at the start of the season in my league, in my big league, dropped Scatterboo. I picked him up because I was so running back deficient. And then he has just been him and Judkins. I picked those guys off the waiver wire from just people just needing space and just throwing those guys out when they, I guess, weren't doing anything. But he got me 30 fantasy points last night. So, silver lining, now I'm going to crush the other guy by like 50 points because he had, regrettably, the Philadelphia defense last night, which got him 1 point. So, silver lining as an Eagles fan, at least I had Scatterboo on my fantasy team. Now, let's talk about the actual game itself. Um, People were saying this is the worst Eagles game we've had in years, which is true because it's the worst Eagles game I've watched in 2 years. Because the worst Eagles game in recent memory with this squad, because again, people were in there like, oh, this is the worst loss in 10 years. It's like, yeah, but that was a completely different team. Like that, again, those don't count to me. With this makeup, with this core of people, the worst loss I personally felt that was worse than this one and was more just like, oh man, like we need to blow it up. Like what's happening here? And that's where the half full uh half empty thing's going to come in because it was the Monday night football game where they lost to Drew Lock with the Seahawks. That was the game because again, Jackson Dart and Scatterboo, they could, and I've been praising this, what this Giants like makeup is since preseason. On this show, I was the one who was like, I think this Giants defense is going to be legit. I like Scatterboo. I think Jackson Dart is good. Like, I was the one on this show who was constantly being like, people are sleeping on this Giants team. And then last night, they played again, maybe the best game they've played in 10 years, like a perfect game by that team. And again, I think Brian Dayball, we were talking about it on Wednesday. I think he's just a perennial loser as a head coach. I just think mentality wise, kind of like the way he carries himself, the way the Giants organization has just let this guy kind of do whatever he wants and none of it has worked. Like literally none of it. And they've traded away their best players and then now they're building with this young core. But I said to Casino yesterday before this game where it was just like, is Dayball the guy? Like his claim to fame is Josh Allen. Josh Allen was bad and like a really raw rookie. And then Dayball got in there. Josh Allen got really good. And then when Dayball left, Josh Allen just got better. So it's one of those things where are we attributing all the success of Dayball to Josh Allen, where that's like, oh, we're attributing all this success for Tom Brady to Josh McDaniel, but then Brady got better and did it better when Josh McDaniel wasn't there. Right. And then we've seen what Josh McDaniel has been, and that's been one of the worst head coaches in the league. I think you can also, again, avoiding prisoner of the moment talk right now, you can also categorize Dayball as one of the worst coaches in the league, even after a win. Because again, you look at what he's done in this franchise as a Giants head coach, and it's just like, not like nothing. Like, again, he came in and he was like, "This guy's gonna turn the Giants' fortunes around," and he is. Oh, let's look at this record right here. He is has 17 wins, 28 losses before this season started. So he now has what? They have whoop, they're 2-4, right? So yeah, they're 2-4 now. So again, add two more wins, so they're 19, and then four more losses. So he's 19-32 with this Giants team. So again, I don't know uh how he's lasted as long as he has, but again, and then last night, weird energy from him with that whole Jackson Dart goes to the medical tent and he's like doing this on the sideline very obviously and very prominently, just nobody around him. He's not even trying to hide it, where he's rushing his quarterback to get out of the medical tent, which is, I don't know, just a giant red flag. I get you want to win the game, but maybe don't maybe you sacrifice. And I'm not even saying this as my team, because again, I think the Eagles loss in retrospect is good, especially losing this way, and we'll get to that. But if you're a Giants fan, yes, the Thursday night win against the Super Bowl champs, yes, that feels good. But also, have we not learned anything from Tua? Have we not learned anything from these other quarterbacks where it's just like, oh yeah, let's try to play through injury, and oh, let's go out there in the middle of a game where I just got injured, and then oh, if it gets re-injured, oh, you just have a situation like Burrow where now he's just gone for the year, and you're just like, well, at least we won that Thursday night game in week 6. Like, that just seems dumb. Now, again, he came back out there and what is it, like, played fine the rest of the game and won and all that kind of stuff. But I'm saying in that moment, you just have to be like, giant red flag for my head coach, because trying to sacrifice potentially the future of our franchise in a franchise where he's been on the hot seat for 3 years. So it's not like this guy is going to be the one that turns you around. He's had the chance to turn it around. He hasn't. Jackson Dart legitimately does have a chance to turn it around. And so does Scattaboo, and so does that young defense, and especially Abdul Carter, that young defensive line that I really like. So again, Dayball, I've never liked just the vibe of that guy. The vibe last night was weird. I don't get it. I don't like it. And again, this is objectively, because again, as an Eagles fan, I'd be like, oh yeah, keep him all the time, because the Giants are never good, right? They've never been good in his tenure. His record speaks for itself. Outside of a Thursday night game, they had lost 9 previous NFC East games. So again, as an Eagles fan, I'd be like, please keep him. Please, because I know he can't get it done. As an objective football fan, putting my fandom aside, why is this guy the one where the Giants personnel and front office has just been like, he's our guy, even though it's never been proven once that he can ever be the guy? So again, especially with a young group, like, you want to grow with like look what's happening with what another like the Jaguars, where it's just like, oh yeah, we just got this random guy. He was the good offensive coordinator last year. We're just kind of reinvigorated our team, and now we're 4-1 when no one expected us to be, right? And then it's just like, or 5-1. And so it's like, yeah, we're now building as a group together, kind of new energy infused into it. Like, again, I don't know. That's enough of a Dayball rant for you. I'm not a fan, even if he wasn't coaching like a rival, which you would. It's just weird, weird, weird. But the game last night, again, it was just Giants dominated the Eagles on all levels. The talk of this game coming out of it is going to be uh the Hurt slander, which we'll get to, which is hilarious. Apparently, two of your best performances being in a Super Bowl are completely, you know, just washed away with one bad game on a Thursday night in the middle of at the beginning of the season. Like, that's the ridiculous shit where we're just like, okay, Can we not turn every single game into the most overreactionary thing ever? Like that's where we keep doing these power rankings and it's just like I made a joke of it, but it's also just like, well, the Giants beat the Eagles, so now they're the best team in the and it's just like they're not. They have 2 wins. Like they're 2-4. They're gonna have to rattle off a lot of wins to even be in contention for a wild card spot. Like, can we pump the brakes on these one games where it's just like over the course of a season? Yeah. If all of a sudden the Eagles lose 6 straight and are 4-6 after, or 4-8 after starting, undefeated for the first 4 weeks of the season, then yeah, we can be like, hey, something's up here. But the fact that they lose a close Broncos game and then get annihilated, 3 or 4 days later. Like we'll pump the brakes a little. But with the Eagles, they lost on all fronts of the game last night. Offensive line, defensive line got pushed around, which is uncharacteristic of this Eagles team and has been for a decade at this point, where they've always, I mean, even Mike going back to the Andy Reid days. So for the past 20 plus years, they've always dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides. And that's been like the key to victory. And then last night, uncharacteristically, just pushed around on both sides, which honestly was why I was okay with the back to back to back tush pushes. At this point, I've been saying it for a year, get rid of the tush push. I don't care. At this point, the effectiveness as the play has been overruled by how annoying the coverage of it is. It's like, oh, well, they false start on the play every time. And then it's just like, okay, so then call it a false start. Like, why? Again, the league hates it so much that they want to ban it, but then are just telling their referees never to referee it. Does that make logical sense to any person alive? No. Oh, that's because it's stupid. Like, why? If it's a false start, just call it a false start. Again, like the Eagles are, what is it, are going to do the tush push no matter what. If the split second, what is it, jump before the ball is snapped is the key to its success, and then the next 10 times after that, they either get called for a false start or stop doing it, or stop getting the first downs because of it. Guess what? The Eagles will stop doing the play. So again, if you're the NFL and we just keep hearing all these fucking talking heads on TV just going, well, they need to really, really look closely. It's a hard play to officiate. And then it's like, okay, then that's you admitting your referees suck, which every football fan knows NFL referees do suck. So I'm not putting that past them. But this overemphasis on, like, I mean, did you see it in super super slow motion? He false started for 0.5 seconds before the ball was snapped, and it's like, then call a false start. Like, I'm saying this as an Eagles fan, then call a false start. I don't care at this point. And again, this is when we were 4-0 last year, when we were on like a 10-game win streak. This has always been my, what is it? My stance on this. If they false start, call it a false start. Because again, on a crucial play in a game later in this season or in the past, there's going to be a crucial false start that is going to benefit some team playing the Eagles, and they're going to be penalized because of it, and they're not going to be penalized because of it, and it's going to hurt my team. Again, blanket across the board. Call penalties when they're penalties. Don't call them when they're not. When they're ticky tack, go to the review booth and just get it right. Again, I'm so tired of like this. Well, the Eagles get all the calls. They get all the calls. And then I'm watching games where they just get absolutely hosed in calls like the Broncos. And then people go, well, I mean, they get all the calls in other games. And it's just like, yeah, I don't want either. I don't want to get all the calls. I don't want to get hosed on calls. I just want calls when they're applicable to be called across the board. Across the board for my team, for not my team. I've been saying this for 3 years. So that's the whole tush push thing at this point. Get rid of it. Again, the people saying, "Oh, that's the only reason why the Eagles are good." I don't remember every game last year where they just did 99 tush pushes in a row to just go down the field 1 yard at a time. It's just another piece like a quarterback sneak. Again, on a 1 yard play, they go, well, they were shown on Thursday Night Football. They were like, well, it's so deadly because last week the guy fumbled when he was just going to go right into the end zone. And it's like, okay, but yeah, that was one game on one instance. Most of the time, that guy just goes into the end zone or gets tackled at the end zone. Like it's again, it's an automatic play that is sometimes stopped. Like last year against the Bucks where it was stopped. So it's a play like any other play where sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I just don't the talk around it where it's like, well, it's not a football play. It's not a football play. Really, lining up your 11 guys against our 11 guys and then fighting for 1 yard is not a football play. I thought every yard matters. I thought you fight, the fight with all your heart for 1 yard. To me, it's the most football play. But again, the NFL doesn't want football. It wants television, like a television show. It wants entertainment. That's why every year there's more rules put in place that benefits the offense because the NFL wants Rams Chiefs Monday night from a couple years ago where the score was 50-48. Those are the games they want. They don't want 10-9 games. And you know what? Neither do most people. Not most people don't like defensive battles. So like it's again with everything, with sports, it's all about money. And the NFL knows we make more money when the game is 50-48 than we do when it's 10-9. So we're going to take all the football plays out and we're just going to try to make it where quarterbacks are passing for 500 yards, wide receivers are going on TikTok and doing dances and then going out on the field and having 300 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns in a game. And it's just like, that's where we're at. And again, that's fine. But stop doing the argument where it's like, well, it's not a football play. It's like, have you watched football compared to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? It's like the game isn't football anymore. It's what is it? Everybody said it's flag football now. You touch the quarterback, you breathe on him, it's 15 yards. It's like, though, it's not football. It's like again, dumbest argument of all time. Now, with the Giants, again, good for them. Scatterboo is a beast. With that wide receiving core, with what Dart did, again, he was more deadly. He threw for 195 yards, sacked twice. What he really did great was just keep plays alive with his feet. He was killing the Eagles last night by just keeping plays alive with his feet and then running past the quarterback spy. And yeah, he got that first touchdown that was kind of like set in for all Eagles fans, just that like, uh-oh, here it comes. And then it came. I need a drink of my tea. I'm out of breath. Whew. All right. So now let's move over to what I am dubbing the let me see if it was downloaded. Oh, I didn't even download it. All right. So we're doing a new segment on here in honor of the Eagles losing their first back-to-back in what, 2 years, I think. And that is we are doing a segment, if this can ever download. And again, this is here we go. The segment is called Half Full, Half Empty. It's supposed to be a video, but it was taking too long, so it's just a picture. Half full, half empty. So obviously the saying goes, if it's half full is the optimistic, right? So half full, I probably should have looked at this before. Half full or half empty. So half full is, what is it? The optimist sees the glass as half full, the pessimist sees it as half empty. So optimist coming out of the Eagles game right here. They this is half full. They needed a game like this to get back on track. Okay, this is the optimistic Eagles fan right here. They needed a game like this to get back on track because they were they were what? A drop or an overthrow away from in the Cowboys game from losing that game. Then you look at, let's pull up their schedule right here. Then you look at what the next game was. Oh, the next game. Why is this? The next game was the Chiefs, right? Where if that Travis Kelsey pass does not get bobbled and Makuba picks it off, they potentially also lose that game, right? So both those games are a 4 point and 3 point game. The Rams game, you don't even need to say it, right? The first half, they put up like 9 yards of offense and then just had a flurry of offense in that second half. Rams didn't score another point. They block a field goal at the end to win, return it back for a touchdown, right? Or that game, I believe, would have ended on what, like a 3 point game if they would have got that. Or no, I think it was a 2 point game. And then they blocked the field goal. So Rams would have won by 1 point, right? The Buccaneers game, again, I think that is weirdly the game that the Eagles actually kind of had their best showing because outside of a blown coverage and then a pass from Baker Mayfield perfectly going past like the fingertips of two Eagles defenders who are right there. Both those long touchdowns. I'm not saying the Bucks wouldn't have gotten touchdowns those times, but I'm saying outside of those two plays that resulted in touchdowns, the Bucks really didn't do anything that game, and Baker probably had his worst game. Again, you take away those two long passes, probably had his worst game of the season at that Eagles game. Also threw that really bad red zone interception, which I will again like with the Chiefs one, it's like, oh, it hit Kelsey in the hands. You should have caught that. Like the Bucks interception was just straight up a bad interception. There's no like where the Seattle Bucks game where it's like, oh, it ricochets off the helmet and that's why it was intercepted. Like Baker just threw a really bad ball. So that's really the one on the list so far where I'm like, they actually did kind of win that game. If Hurts did get a concussion in that second half, I think that kind of explains why his second half was so bad. Like, I just think that again, the concussion thing doesn't happen, and then those two long touchdowns are kind of like mistakes. That's really the only game on the docket so far where they've legitimately won it, and I think that's because you've seen interviews with Sirianni and Hurts being like, "Oh yeah, that Bucks game, like we were ready for that one." Like that was, as I said before, that was the Eagles Super Bowl game where that was their revenge game. That was the one team that the past couple years has really beat them up, and you could tell all the players were motivated for that game. Now the Broncos game, again, penalties and weirdness aside, the Broncos having the fourth quarter they did, where they overcame the 17 point deficit, whatever it was, like, yeah, that's an issue. Like, especially with the bend don't break defense that Vic Fangio has been playing this season. Like when it finally breaks, you get the back-to-back weeks where we finally end on last night's game where it was like, oh yeah, what is it? The issue with the Eagles coming into the season, the pessimistic side is the offseason, they only lost people, didn't bring in anybody. Now, again, I don't think Milton Williams is that big of a loss. He's a big loss when all of a sudden your defensive tackle has missed 2 games, potentially 3 games this season already going into week 7. And he's the best defensive player on your team, and he's a little injury banged up. You have issues at your cornerback 2 or your cornerback 3, however you want to look at it, outside of uh, Quinion and then Cooper DeJean, and then so you're already what you have on the field with the Eagles is what you get, right? There's no depth. There's no depth at really any wide or at any position in the league or in this on this team. So you look at it's like, yeah, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are the best wide receiver combo in the league or in contention for best wide receiver combo in the league, right? If you want to put them with Higgins and Chase, whatever. So they're a top 3 wide receiver duo in the league. The issue is outside of those 2 at wide receiver, they're just picking a bunch of random guys, plugging them in there and just saying like, well, let's see if this works. So then you also last night, it's like, well, we have Saquon Barkley, but who's behind Saquon Barkley? And it's just like, I don't know. We'll just pick up a bunch of random guys. For some reason, we got Tank Bigsby. For some reason, we got Dylan, who last night fumbled. And then it's like, oh, Will Shipley, I think, is also injured. So it's just like, again, bunch of just guys. And then you look at the guys they let go that weren't necessarily starters, right? Because Milton Williams, I think, was a good depth piece. But again, for what he was paid with the Patriots, like, I don't think you're not keeping him on this Eagles team to be the third defensive tackle that you're going to pay $80 million for. But then you look at guys where you're like, yeah, why didn't you pay Becton? Why didn't you, what is it? Why didn't you pay Josh Sweat? Like, why didn't you keep CJ Gardner Johnson when what you get back from him for him is a seventh round pick and like a guard who can't start on this team, even though there's injuries at guard? It just seems, again, the Howie Roseman is the best GM in the league, bar none. The issue, though, is after the first Super Bowl, much like this year, what it appears, both those off seasons, it's kind of like he outthought the room, right? Where it's like Justin Jefferson or Jalen Rager. And then it's just like everybody. And again, the thing that gets forgot about this is Eagles fans did not want Justin Jefferson because he was a slot wide receiver. I remember those arguments and things being all over the internet. People were like, if we take Justin Jefferson, I'm going to be so mad. That was a consensus among Eagles fans with Justin Jefferson coming out of LSU. Now, the consensus was not, let's pick Jalen Rager over him. I don't remember who Eagles fans wanted, but I remember distinctly everyone being against Justin Jefferson. I was like, I don't know how to play or evaluate. So I'll just I again, the draft where it's just like people that's people's jobs. I have no expertise in that. Even the draft experts what hit like 10 out of 300 and then they call themselves experts. Like the draft is just a giant unknown. So being like, "Oh, we should have just taken Jefferson." Like, yeah, we should have taken Jefferson because he was the best wide receiver and we need a wide receiver. If the issue was, well, he's in the slot, we don't need a slot receiver. It's just like, well, then we'll figure it out. We'll move it around again. So the issue that Howie Roseman sometimes does have is where the ego goes to his head and then he just goes, I am the best GM in the league. And then he kind of tries to outsmart the room, outsmart the league, and just go, we don't need all these good players. We'll just kind of plug those holes with whoever we can get, and then we'll make it work because, well, I'm smarter than everybody. Like, why wouldn't it work? And then it's like, you look at what Rodgers is doing, the cornerback from last year, a guy they should have 100% re signed because it wasn't going to break the bank to re sign him and they were already had no depth at cornerback. And then it's just like, no, we'll get rid of him and then we'll just bring in Adoree Jackson, who's had the worst 6 weeks of tape you're ever going to see in this league of cornerback play. Yeah, Kelly Ringo, who is a guy I think is a great guy to come in for certain sets and maybe to come in just as a depth piece, but to be starting on the field every play, no. And then Isaiah Rodgers goes away. He's going to be what one of the best cornerbacks in the league this year. Then you look at guys like Josh Sweat's doing good at the Cardinals, but you even go back farther and then it's like, oh, we let go of the best tackler and the best linebacker we had in the league. He goes to Denver and he's like even better there and an all pro. I can't remember that guy's name. White guy with like long brown hair. I'm blanking. But on the Eagles, he was good and everybody was like, "Oh, but is he really that good?" And then it went to the Broncos and he got even better. The issue with this Eagles team is every piece we have that we should re-sign who are not these big all-pro guys who are getting $80 million contracts. The Eagles do not re-sign because Howie Roseman just goes, "Oh, well, I could just fill that role with somebody else." And then he doesn't and can't. And then it's just like, oh, well, better make some big moves and big trades over here on this side. And then that's where you get these gap years in between being legitimate contenders where the 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 room's just on fire, right? It's the dog where the room's on fire and he's just sitting there sipping his tea, just going, everything's fine. It's like, it's not. It's not fine. It's not fine at all. Like, that's the issue. Um, I'm not gonna have time for power rankings. This is just gonna be all Eagles complaining. So you're welcome. But yeah, it's just again, it's the glass half full aspect of it, which I forgot my bit because I'm so just again just so mad that no other team deals with this in the league. No, when the Lions lose both their coordinators, it's just like, man, how are they going to recover from that? Week 1, it was like they lost that, right, to that Packers team, but it was just like, man, we told you, Lions, right? You can't lose both coordinators and just pick up right where you left. It's the system, it's all this kind of stuff. And then it's like, oh no, it isn't. Then it just what the next week it's just like, oh, Lions now have one of the most potent offenses, not in the league, in NFL history, even though they just lost the coach where everybody, myself included, contributed that to. So it's just like, oh, and then their defense actually better than when the all pro defensive coordinator who went to become a head coach, actually better. So, and this is the thing that annoys me about the Eagles is it's just like, it's again with thinking they're outsmarting the room when it comes to Howie Roseman, where it's just like, oh, we actually don't need a good coordinator. We'll just promote from within. We will just promote the passing game coordinator who has been an issue for the whole Sirianni era. Where it's just like, what are these pass concepts? Like, you can kind of read in between the lines where the wide receivers appear to not like him because he's not a good pass game coordinator. Again, the pass game coordinator, when the only issue with the Eagles was this passing game is really weird, really predictable, really bad. It's like, it's got to be Hurts, right? And then it's like, I don't know. Every time Hurts has had a competent or above average play caller, he puts up MVP numbers when he had Steichen. He puts up, what is it, game winning, where he's 15-1 with Kellen Moore. It's like in college, I don't know, put up pretty good numbers, was drafted to Alabama, goes to Oklahoma, gets drafted in the second round. It's like, I don't know, when he has a competent coach, when he has a competent, and I'm not even saying good, I'm not even saying great, I'm saying a competent coach where like an offensive coordinator who is not, I don't know, calling plays for the first time in his NFL career, when he has those things, he lights it up and he's pretty good at what he does. So again, where we go, well, I don't know, this quarterback, it's just like Mahomes has had Andy Reid his entire career, never gets brought up. Josh Allen, same coach. Again, Dayball leaves, just gets another coach in there. It's same type of thing, just no issue. Same with Lamar Jackson. Again, when you see every year that Hurts has had a new offensive coordinator, that is a thing everybody knows because of how unusual it is and how weird it is that this one team can't keep one position coach past one season because of two reasons. One, that coach immediately gets hired as a head coach. Happened with Steichen, happened with Kellen Moore, happened with, I believe there's one other person in that mix. But then the other thing is, oh, they're so bad at their job that they last one season, they get fired at the end of it, and then that person is no longer at that position in 31 other teams or in college. The comparisons to Kevin Petula, and I can't believe it took me 40 minutes to mention his name. The comparison to Kevin Petula and to Brian Johnson, who was the offensive coordinator after they won the Super Bowl and lost Steichen to the Colts, is the comparison is when they lose their jobs after both one season, they will not get another shot at that job on another team. They won't. Who is going to hire Kevin Petula as an offensive coordinator when he hopefully gets fired by the bye week, which is my guess that I think he will be gone by week 9. But I'm just like, Nobody's going to look at this. Who's going to hire him as a passing game coordinator? Who? Again, yesterday, Jalen Hurts had a bad game. The picks, the almost pick six, the first pick he's thrown of this season. Also, again, it's funny when you know what, let's go to the Hurts aspect of it. It's funny how the Hurts aspect of it is, and by it, I mean just his presence alone angers so many people. It's so weird. No other quarterback in the league lives or dies by the pass as much as Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts can have a perfect game where he throws where he throws 20 completions, 21 out of on a 21 attempts. And after the game, it'll be like, yeah, but did you see that one? Like it'll be for like 250 yards, three touchdowns. And then he'll also rush for 50 yards. And people will still be like, but did you see that one overthrow? The one incompletion, like if he doesn't make that, I mean, every quarterback in the league can hit that. Like, so if he's not hitting that throw, is he really a good quarterback? And it's just like he completed 99% of his passes. And this is the conversation. It's just again, yes, the pass that should have hit Devontae Smith in the hands was bad. I'm not excusing that as a good pass. I'm just saying I've seen every quarterback in the league miss that throw, and then it's just like, all right, well, they missed that throw. And then it's like on to the next. Now, when Hertz misses that throw, you get 900 comments on every social media platform just being like, see, this guy's a bum. He shouldn't even be in the league. Can't even be a backup. And it's just like, what did this guy like? I thought I get why people don't like the Eagles. I get it. I don't like I get why people don't like Eagles fans. Again, I get it. The Jalen Hurts hate, I don't understand at all. He's like the most, what is it, normal quarterback in the history of just normal quarterbacks. When they interview him, he says all the right things. He's a good looking dude. He's like great with chair. It's just like, again, seems like a great guy across the board, says everything you want to. There's like, he's hanging out with Michael Jordan and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and all of them co sign just him as like a good dude. And yet, still, it's like fans are so vitriolic for him where you're just like, what did this guy do to you? What do you hate so much about this one guy specifically? Because again, no other quarterback gets talked about like the way this guy does. And that's again, he did not play good in the Denver Broncos game. He did not play good in this game. But to say, oh, the weeks in the 2025 season, weeks 5 and 6, replayed bad games. Like, that's why he shouldn't be in the NFL. You're just like, he just won the Super Bowl this year. He won the Super Bowl 8 months ago. He was Super Bowl MVP in that game, rightfully so. He did, when it mattered, hit the big same type of throw to Devontae Smith that was even harder because it had to be out of the reach of the defenders. He hit that throw in the Super Bowl. So this whole thing where it's just like, I mean, he overthrew Devontae Smith last night. Like, is he a good quarterback? It's like, yeah, he is, because when it mattered the most, he hit Devontae Smith on that throw in the Super Bowl. Like and it was more difficult. The guy, again, we hype up Justin Herbert, we hype up Lamar Jackson so much. And then when they get to the playoffs, they play their worst games of football all year by a country mile. When we get to the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts has played his two best games as a pro ever by a country mile. And then it's just like, yeah, but is he good? Is he good? Again, we're so fantasy football and just highlight obsessed that it's just like winning now doesn't matter. You have to do it with style points. So all the talking heads today are just going to be like, is Jalen Hurts the guy? Is he the issue? Is he the issue? And it's just like, we were talking about how he was 15-1 and hadn't thrown a interception in 300 pass attempts yesterday. Like, it's like, again, nobody likes Thursday night games less than I do. So the glass half full aspect of it is just like, yeah, maybe it was a short week. The guys are tired. They're already losing guys left and right. They lost a bunch of guys in this one. of the glass half full part of me is when the Giants were kicking their ass, everybody on the sidelines, outside of a couple screenshots you're going to see where it's like Devontae Smith and AJ Brown sitting next to each other, like looking sad. Everybody was like joking around and smiling, which in any other instance I would actually hate. But I kind of did like how it was just like that's the most emotion you've ever seen from Jalen Hurts in in the fourth quarter of that game on the sidelines when they're getting their ass kicked. And he's like kind of joking around with like people and everybody smiling and like laughing. Like, yeah, I think the fans today are like hitting the panic button and just going, "Uh-oh, we need the nuclear option, like blow this whole team up." And the team itself is like, it's week 6, we just lost. Like nobody outside of Casino picked this team to win every game. Thursday night games are weird. It's a divisional game. That's the pessimistic, or that's the uh what is it? Glass half full. Glass half empty is the real issue on this team, I think, is the play calling. Whether you want to attribute that to Sirianni, whether you want to attribute that to Patula, whoever you want to put the blame on for the play calling, that is a 100% valid concern because again, that was not just a thing like Hurts again has played really good this season, had a rough last 2 games, and so I'm not writing him off as like a problem. He had 2 bad games. If he has 3 good games, people are not going to give him credit for those. So Jalen Hurts, we already did that. Put it off the board. The wide, but again, when your pass concepts are predictable to everybody watching the game as a fan or an analyst, you don't think the smartest football people in the world, NFL coaches, it's also going to be predictable to them? You don't think that there's an issue where Hurts has the ball in his hands for 3 to 10 seconds behind the line of scrimmage and is looking. You can see him going through his read progressions. Nobody's open. He runs or throws the ball away. And then the announcers go, well, he held onto the ball for a long time, but nobody was open. How in the NFL does not one person, let's say you're sending out 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and you're running back out of the backfield. So you have right there 4 options. You're telling me we go out on the field right now for 10 seconds. I run around. There's not one split second of that, not 2 seconds of that, where I am open for just long enough to catch a football. Who cares if you catch it and get tackled? That's what happens on most pass plays. But the we're running around for 10 seconds and everybody's just covering us like a blanket. Like you think that's a quarterback problem. Throw him open. 10 seconds, he can't throw anybody open. You think that's a Hurts problem? To me, that screams, I don't know, maybe the concepts of your passing play are so predictable that when the defensive coordinator watches the play, they go, oh, this guy's doing a curl. This guy's doing a streak. This guy is blocking. This guy is coming out on a swing route to the left, and we'll just guard those. Like again, it's like when it is predictable, which it is, everything else we've talked about is subjective, whatever, right? It's like, I think Hertz is good. I can give you the facts of why I think that. You think Hertz is bad. You can give me the facts to back that up. And then we debate that, right? There's no debating that Kevin Patula's offense is predictable. Every football mind in the world has said it is predictable. So when nine out of 10 dentists agree, you probably go with the 9 instead of the one guy who's just like, I don't know. I have no evidence to back this up, but I actually think mouthwash doesn't work. And you're just like, all right, well, I'll go with the 9 guys. So in the debate, there's subjective things and facts. The fact is, this offense is bad. The offensive scheme is bad and is predictable. It's a fact. We've seen it for now 6 weeks. It wasn't a one-time thing. It wasn't a one-game thing where you're just like, well, just got out coached by one of the worst coaches in the league in Brian Daboll. Just got out coached by him. It's just like, no, you've been out coached for 6 weeks. And again, you want to throw this blame also on Sirianni? Be my guest. Coaching, again, Eagles lot of penalties, one of the most penalized teams in the league currently. That's coaching. Offense is never on the field. They were 1-9 last night from third down conversion. Bad coaching, bad play design, bad play calling. Like the 4 tush pushes in a row, I liked in that situation because it was like, you guys are getting pushed all over the field. Assert some sort of dominance and just run the ball down their throat. Put 11 guys versus 11 guys and just push them over. Like, that was the only part in the game where that was the part where they kind of stormed back and where that was to take the lead. It was just like, I thought that was going to be the point where it's just like, all right, got a little scared there, but thank God we reasserted ourselves, took the lead. Now it's kind of time to play like smash mouth football. And then it ended up being the last highlight in that game. Like it was just, ugh. Again, shout out to the Giants. Stepdad is a Giants fan, always been a huge Giants fan. Like that was a good win for them with that young core of players. Like if they would have had Malik Neighbors out there, the score would have probably been what 42-17 because he would have caught a touchdown. Again, he was going against you would Malik Neighbors against Adoree Jackson on a streak. Who are you taking? Malik Neighbors 100 out of 100 times. It's just, and again, the other aspect, special teams can't catch a kickoff or punt to save their lives. Muffed it 3 different times. It's like that. I don't know. That seems like a coaching issue. Defense, I will give some slack to because they were coming in with a couple key guys missing, and then as the game progressed, kind of kept losing key guys. So it's like I trust Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator. He'll figure that side of the ball out. The offense, I don't trust any of the offensive coaches. So, and again, this is 2023 all over again, where it's just like we have this well oiled machine, and then you take it to a mechanic that is like, all right, well, this is my first time ever working on a car, but I watch a lot of car videos. So let me look under the hood. And you're just like, I don't know. Like, this is a pretty expensive sports car. Maybe I don't want to just hand it over to the guy who just likes sports cars and has never been a mechanic on one. Like, it's just, again, I was going to do power rankings, not today. Casino and I will do it on Monday's show. Just again, because I don't want to do a 2 hour show. I'm already running late. It was, ugh, I didn't think I'd rant an hour on this, but it was worthy of it. The only good thing that can come out of this game is the Eagles deserve to get their ass kicked like this because now no longer can the fans or the organization just be like, hey, we're playing bad, but we're winning. Like now we're playing bad and not winning. So now's the time to shake something up. And I am fully and 100% behind throwing Kevin Petula under the bus, firing him, getting somebody else in that position and making him the scapegoat. But again, the issue that comes with that is if you throw him under the bus and use him as the scapegoat and then the offense does not improve, that was your Hail Mary play. So if the Hail Mary, you better be damn certain if you're in the organization, if you're Howie Roseman, if you're Nick Sirianni, if you're these players, fans, whoever, we all need to be damn sure he's the issue. And I think when you look at the defensive side of the football, the issue is we lost a lot of guys last year, right? Simple as that, where we have no depth and we lost a lot of guys. Offense, all the same guys are there, right? So it's like, well, the only thing that's changed on this offense is the offensive coordinator. So last year we had a very dynamic, very good offense, top 5 offense in the league. Now we have a bottom 5 offense in the league. So only difference on offense is the play caller. So if you get rid of that play caller, presumably you're going to improve to, I'm not even saying be what you were last year, just be a top 12 offense in this league and you're going to be fine. Like it's like we're bottom 5 in the league in offense, in yards and efficiency and everything, right? So it's like just make sure he's the issue, which I think he is. Because again, when you watch the Eagles games, all the football minds on Twitter, on TV, on every other social media just go, "Oh yeah, this Eagles offense is really boring, really predictable. You can guess, oh, if it's a tight end lined up like this, if Devontae goes in motion, it's going to be this running play." If it's that predictable where you're not even going, oh, this is a run play, this is a pass play. You're going, oh, this is this specific play if this happens. And then it happens and it's that specific play. You're so predictable. The dipshit fans at home, no, myself included, I'm a dipshit fan. When we're watching the game, we go, well, I know what's going to happen here. It's like the Doug Peterson era before he got fired, where it was just like, well, I know this play is going to be a tight end screen because he runs it 5 times a game and it never works. And then they line up in that position and you're like, here it comes, tight end screen, it gets 2 yards. And it was 3rd and 12. And you're just like, well, if I saw that coming, I know damn well the defensive players who've been watching tape all week and the defensive coordinator on the other side knew it's coming. So again, the Giants just blew you out at home. Again, it's a Thursday night game. It's a divisional game. We almost saw the Bills lose to a worse Dolphins team than this Giants team is. I'm not saying the sky is falling, everything's on fire, this is fine kind of thing. I'm saying there's an issue. Everyone knows what the issue is. I think even the Eagles organization does because Lane Johnson, when asked about it, was like, yeah, our offense is too predictable. Like, there you go. Again, all the AJ stuff, or when we start winning and passing the ball to AJ Brown and he's dominating people like he has for years, I'm pretty sure he'll be like, oh yeah, no issues whatsoever. When Saquon starts rattling off for 100 yards a game, running to the outside instead of straight up the middle for 2 yards a gain every single time, I'm sure he'll be happy. Winning cures everything, but in this instance, you just need to get back to what you were last year. And that is a winning football team that is not predictable. Like, stop being predictable. There's nobody in this organization who is just capable of telling the offensive coordinator, like, hey, maybe this job isn't for you. Like, maybe you're not meant to be an offensive coordinator. Didn't sound like he was what is it? Didn't sound like he was a pass game coordinator because again, the issues with the passing game were when he was the passing game coordinator. So doesn't sound, and again, what is it? I never attempted to make it in the NFL, but if I did, I would have failed because I don't have the talent or skill to make it in the NFL. Everyone has that thing where you just go, "Oh, well, I really wanted to be a rock star. Too bad I can't sing." Like, I really wanted to be in the NFL. Too bad I'm not athletic. I want to be in the NFL at a quarterback. Too bad I don't have the throwing arm. Like, it's just like across the board, everybody has those things they want to be and then they can't do it. Like, Kevin Patula wanted to be a dynamic offensive coordinator. You aren't. Will you be? Sure. Go somewhere else, learn, and come back and then try it again. Not for the Eagles. I'm talking about the NFL. And then maybe, hopefully, you're a good offensive coordinator then. You're not now. You may never be. Vic Fangio wanted to be a head coach, went, tried it, wasn't, and then was like, you know what? I actually live in Philadelphia. I want to work in that area, and I'm a damn good defensive coordinator. Came back and did that. Like, sometimes the thing you want to be, you don't have the skills to be, and you need to accept that. So you got, again, I think by the bye week, he's gone. He's got 2 more games, including another game against this Giants team that just embarrassed him. So you got the Vikings, who aren't a world beater. They have Carson Wentz at quarterback. So you have the Vikings and the Giants, a 2-win team, and I believe a 3-win team. You, as of 2 weeks ago, were the best team in the league, undefeated. As of 8 months ago, you were the Super Bowl champions. As of almost a year ago, you hadn't lost another game. So there you have it. I wanted to go 20 minutes about that game, and then it spiraled into also my half full, half empty, kind of just got rid of that segment. So join us Monday where we might do the power rankings. I don't know. I literally did my whole list. So if you want to screen grab that right there, you can see what my list is. Spoiler alert, I had the Eagles at 32nd because that's how I feel. I feel like they're the worst team in the league. Obviously, it's overreaction Friday after the Thursday night game, but I had the Giants at the 20th best team. Again, I don't think the Giants are good. I think they played a damn near perfect game last night, and the Eagles played their worst game in almost 2 years. So, and that includes the two losses last year. So, yeah, I don't, again. And then I had Lions as number one. I think Lions might be best team. Bills number two. Bucks, Colts, Rams, Seahawks, Patriots, Jags, Packers, Broncos. That was top 10. Ugh. All right. We'll be back Monday. Maybe if Casino wants to do power rankings, we'll do power rankings Monday. Sorry to everybody who tuned in for power rankings and then didn't get it. I'll change the title to where it's just Eagles lose to Giants and Eagles rant. I don't know. Uh, I'm not sad. So one of my friends texted me last night and he was like, "Man, I know you're going through it." And I was like, "I'm really not." Again, I think this is potentially the best thing that happened to this team, but they need to make some changes. To just brush it off and just be like, "Nah, no big deal. We'll figure it out." It's just like you won't, because I've seen it. You won't figure it out this way, because if you're just stubborn and you go, this way works, and you just dig your toes in the dirt and just kind of push forward, that will not work. We saw it in 2013. That does not work. Changes need to be made. And I'm not saying trade 3 first-round picks for another player. Those aren't the kind of changes that need to be had. Sign a, what is it? Cut a Dory Jackson. Look to trade for a third cornerback. You're not looking to trade for Patrick Surtain, right? You're looking to trade for a rotational piece from another, what is it? Another team that's playing good this year. Trade him a fourth round pick, fourth and fifth round pick to get him over here. Get another depth piece on the defensive tackle front, right? Also trade a fifth round pick to get some rotational guy in another team. And then hopefully Mitchell and other guys that got knocked out of that game, hopefully they come back on this mini bye week to play the Vikings, or are there after the bye week when presumably this team's going to be 4-4 and still have a chance to do something. But the changes that need to be made are from the coaching side of it, not the player side. The player side, they have the pieces. And again, defensively, I trust that coach and what he can turn this defense into. Because again, the defense, especially when it gets Carter back, they have moments where they look as good, if not better, than they did last year. Those moments are few and far between, but again, I know they're capable of that. This offense is capable of being one of the best offenses in the league. They don't have the coaching right now or play calling to be that. And that's the issue. That's where you need to stake your flag in the ground and be like, changes need to be made. Here are the changes. We're shaking it up. Use them as a scapegoat. I do not care. See you Monday, me and Casino, talking about the rest of the week 6 games. I'm sure we'll talk about this game again. Should have reversed jinx. I knew I should have. I felt weird about that game all day yesterday. Should have reversed jinx and picked the Giants, but I really thought they were better than the Giants. They are at this moment clearly not. This has been the Only Sports Podcast, the solo show. I'm Will. Like, comment, subscribe, podcast, get it wherever you can.